Hey, guys, this is Onisha Biggs, and this is the Cult of Pharmacy podcast. Today, listen. I told you we're going to be having some very diverse interviews happening right here. You can find them. I'm introducing to you today someone that is so awesome. She's done a lot of pharmacy work internationally, and I think you're going to get quite a bit of insight from her today. All right, so I want to formally introduce to you Miss Deborah out of Nigeria, Africa. So, Deborah, if you could tell our audience, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you currently do today.
Hi everyone, I'm Deborah and I am a graduate pharmacist currently interning in a hospital here in Nigeria. Yes,
Awesome.
basically.
Awesome. Okay, you're a pharmacist, you're in Nigeria, but that's not all
Yes.
that there is to you, okay? So you have a path, you have a journey, and that's really what I
Yeah.
want to get into.
Okay.
I want to talk about like how your journey in pharmacy first started, because you
Okay.
have some other countries mixed in there too. So tell us a little bit about like, okay, are you from Nigeria?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so you're
I'm
from
from
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
And
Yes.
tell us about that journey in pharmacy. I'm gonna say this that got you back to Nigeria.
I love how you put it. I wanted to study pharmacy, and was about like 7 years ago or 6 years ago, and I wanted to study pharmacy, and eventually, along the line, I thought about studying pharmacy outside of Nigeria, and then Ukraine came up, so I traveled to. I relocated. Would I say I moved abroad to the Ukraine to study pharmacy, and I did that for 5 years. And when I graduated, I decided to come back and come back to Nigeria. Basically, in summary, but there's a whole lot more. But in summary, that's what it is.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. So, okay, you decided. Let's just start because I really want to know how Ukraine was because I have an interesting story about Ukraine. I had a
Okay.
professor that was from Ukraine, and he was my physics professor. This guy
Okay.
was so passionate about Ukraine. So we'll get into Ukraine in a minute, but I want to know. So tell me about the first of all, what prompted you into pharmacy? So you're in Nigeria. You grew up in Nigeria, right? What prompted you to just go into pharmacy in the first place?
Okay, I would say I've always first of all, I grew up in an environment where I would say my parents were into pharmaceutical products and like stuff
Mm,
like that. So, and that was not the only reason, but along the line when I was in high school, I had to make a choice, and I knew I was I was an empathic person. I I found like growing up, I always found that people always warm up to me and they confided in me, they trusted me, and they always come to me when they, I don't know, for some reason, just to encourage and all that. And I was always wondering like, what is that about me? I didn't like I couldn't figure it out at the time. But as time went on, I found that myself to be an empathic person, and I knew another thing was I knew I couldn't do medicine because I couldn't like make it in the theater. I feel like I was going to maybe collapse or something because I can't see like some things. And so pharmacy came up, and yeah, I decided I wanted to study pharmacy because I could get the chance to talk to patients directly and also get the chance to counsel patients because I something I love doing. Let's say that. So I ventured into it, and yeah, so that's what it is.
so you would say it was more of like a personality type thing that really prompted you to have that desire to go into pharmacy? Like
Yes,
your
it was
personality?
in between. I couldn't find myself doing medicine because I was in science class and I had to choose between, I knew I couldn't do engineering or all those big stuff. Math is not my thing. I couldn't do it. So there were so many reasons why I couldn't do those courses. I was like, no, I didn't find myself doing those kind of courses. And it was in between medicine and pharmacy. But I knew I couldn't like just do medicine because there's so many things like I can't even watch it like if blood spill out or something like that. So I I knew that pharmacy was another place I could still get the interaction with patients without getting to see the
Right.
the other side of it. So yeah, so that's why I just like went into pharmacy.
That's interesting that you say that because I think that, no, not I think, I know that that was one of the main reasons that I didn't want to go into being a nurse. So there was a point in my early career where I knew I wanted to go into medical,
Okay.
but once I got some experience at a hospital, I volunteered and I knew that I did not want to be a nurse because of a lot of things that they see. I'm like, I just can't visually stomach that. I just me
Yes.
personally, I can't handle it. So when I learned about pharmacist and being a pharmacist, I thought it was pretty cool because, like you just said, you just spoke to, you still get the patient
Yes.
interaction in
Yes.
different settings, but you don't have to deal with necessarily like all the bodily fluids and those type of things.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's interesting that you say that, and I've actually heard that quite a bit from people who go into the pharmacy industry, that they
Yeah.
still want that medical healthcare feel, and they want to feel like they're
Exactly.
helping others, and they want to engage with patients, but they don't want to deal with like the bodily fluids and all that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty beneficial side of healthcare,
Yeah.
those type of barriers that it has. So okay, so you decided it was really based on, okay, personality. I'm hearing that you have a knack for like really helping people and talking with people and making sure that they're good, which I think that's super awesome, being that you're in pharmacy. I wish that sometimes, depending on the experience, that we had more people like that in healthcare, and I didn't hear you one time say that it was about the money yet. I haven't heard you say, well, I knew like I could make six figures. I've heard you say it was helping people. You had a knack for like people would confide in you, counseling people,
Yeah.
and the whole thing where you didn't want to go into, you want to be in medical, but you didn't want to deal with all the icky stuff that can happen sometimes. So
Yes. Yes.
thank
Yes.
you for your honesty on that. So, okay,
Mhm.
now you've decided to start going to school. All right.
Yes. Yes.
What happens? Like, how's that experience in learning?
Hmm. Okay. So now I get into the university, and then I discovered that I had to do more of chemistry, and
Yeah.
I was like, no way. Like, this is not what, this is the aspect I want. I just want to like interact with patients, right? That's what my initial like idea about like going into pharmacy. But then having
Right.
to do with the organic chemistry, analytical
Oh, yeah.
chemistry, like I'm like, what's all this chemistry? What am I going to do with all this chemistry? Like, so I found it very, I wouldn't, to be very honest, I found myself for a bit of time I struggled with understanding some of these topics, and because they were never, I didn't find them as interesting, but
Mm,
I just I just tried. I tried
right.
because I knew where I wanted to be at the end of this course. So I had to put my mind into it. And I always believe that whatever you put your mind into, you definitely be able to succeed at it only if you put your mind into it. So I just put my mind into it and said, no matter what, I'm going to learn this thing and try my possible best to come out with a degree, this degree, and yes, so that I just ventured into it, and that's it. Yeah.
Love that. I love the optimism and the mindset
Yeah.
behind that. So even though, because I was going to ask you about that. You weren't good in math. I heard you say that you did not like math, and I'm in my mind. I'm like, whew, I know chemistry and organic chemistry was pretty tough for you.
Yes.
So, and you just said it yourself. So tell us about some of the struggles through that, like the chemistry and the organic chemistry, being that you're a person who you didn't have a knack for math, you did not really like math, but you were able to endure it. So how were you able to do that? What were some of the things that you did to make it through those type of classes?
Okay, at some points when I was studying pharmacy, to be very honest, I was asking myself, am I sure this is what I want to really do? Like, do I really want to continue with studying this pharmacy?
Okay.
But at some point while studying, when I got to my third year, I think I almost thought about changing my course. But it was at that point, it was way too late. And I thought about the school fees as an international student coming all the way from Nigeria, and also so I most times motivated myself. Most times I find other people, like my colleagues at the time, to read with, and I had to do extra work. Like after classes, I have to take extra time to read up, and if I had any more challenges, I just asked one of my colleagues, and then we just do it together. And so with that, I was able to, or sometimes our lecturers also had the time, so I could go meet them up and ask them, or if they could spare some time and like help me with one or two uh, exercises or topic I was kind of struggling with at the time, and they always like try to help. Yeah, so that's
That's
just basically.
interesting. So I'm hearing you say, okay, community. So I'm a big stickler for this, and this is why it's standing out to me, because so many students struggle, but they don't get with like a group. They don't get with
Yes,
a
yeah,
pack of people
yes,
that can help support them through their struggle, right?
yeah.
And of qualified people, of course, because you don't want to go try to learn chemistry from, I don't know. Well, you probably could learn it from a gardener because there's chemistry in pretty much everything. But um, basically, what I'm saying is, though, I see that a lot of students don't get the community help that they need when they need it or
Yes,
when they're struggling. So,
yes.
would you say that if you did not get that help from your colleagues, if you did not stay overtime and really work at the weaknesses that you had, do you think that you still would have had the same success and that you would have made it through schooling?
Um, I believe, I don't think so. But at the same time, I believe other people have different ways of studying. I've actually had
Okay.
friends that I've discussed with friends in the time past, and there's some friends that I discussed with in time past that made me understand that they don't do well with group studying. I couldn't relate to it, but I
Interesting.
found it like yes, yes. So they prefer doing individual studying. They don't do well with group study. While the opposite is the same for me. The opposite. I I love reading on my own, but at the same time, I prefer reading. Once I'm done with my individual studies, I also love going to read with other people because it helps it help I don't it helps me, but there's some other people that don't do well with that. So I understand that part, but if I didn't go through, if I didn't learn to go ask for help those time I needed help, I don't think I would have been able to even graduate
Right.
because yes, or maybe I would have had an extra year or something. But I had to
Right.
do
More
what I had to do at the
struggles.
time. Yes,
I
yes,
got you.
yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Man, I would. You know what? I kind of wish your friends were at this interview because I would be curious to know. Seriously, like I would be curious to know um, what alternative a person who just says, you know what, I'm struggling, but I'm still gonna do this thing on my own. I don't really want to get that group setting stuff. What is the alternative to that? Like, if you're already struggling, what what do you have to like lean on or to glean from that can add to relieve your struggle if you don't lean on others who may have the information? Like, what are the
Uh-huh.
other options?
Okay. Most of the times, like they are always like YouTube. YouTube, like you can check
Mm.
YouTube, online classes, or like other things. Or some other people, they also ask for help. But
Yeah, yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is like I enjoy trying to like review maybe past questions or stuff like that with people, but there's some
Right.
people that prefer to do it on their own. And
Gotcha. Certain
yes,
aspects
yes,
of
yes,
it, they like to do it on their own.
on their
Okay,
own,
I'm with
yes,
you. I'm
yeah.
with you. Because I can still even
Mhm.
respect the fact like YouTube or even online study, because that's still a form of community. Like you're
Yes,
still
yes,
gleaning
true, true,
information
true,
from someone
true.
else. So okay, it makes sense now. You're just saying like certain aspect of the study process they like
Yes,
to do on
yes,
their own.
on their own. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's
And
what I'm
not
trying to
be
say.
so codependent on another person, as you're saying.
Yes, yes,
Makes total
yeah,
sense. Makes total sense.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Love that. So, okay, you said that though you're from Nigeria, you
yes,
did international studies. So, where did you
yes.
study at for pharmacy?
Ukraine. I studied in the Ukraine.
Got it. So, I want to
Yeah.
talk about that, Ukraine. How far is that from Nigeria? How far was that travel, first of all?
Oh my god, Ukraine is like, let me say, 15 hours, depending
Okay.
on the airline and the transit time. 10
Gotcha.
15 hours, yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So,
Yeah.
okay, you studied pharmacy there for how many years? Was it 4?
No, it was 5 years.
Wow, 5. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
what did those years consist of? Like all schooling, or did you do like schooling and then some practical in an actual pharmacy? Was that part of the schooling too?
Okay, Ukraine is an Ukraine. How do I put this? English is not the first language in Ukraine, so
Ah,
we kind of had struggles with doing like practical classes. So
wow.
it was more like, yes, it was more like theoretical. But they gave us at our third year, we're given the time to go do some internship in like any country of choice. So we're always given the time to go undertake some internship programs. But to undergo internship in Ukraine, you would have to, I mean, learn the language to an intermediate level.
Whoa.
So, yeah,
That is
yes,
that's a toughie. So let me ask you,
yeah.
before I ask you about
Okay.
the language, I want to know what made you want to just study in Ukraine then? It sounds like it was quite a bit of barriers. You had to fly 15 hours, learn another language, and then go to school for 5 years. So what made you want to study there?
Okay, I get this question a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, I I graduated, and because of the uh competition in my country, sometimes it's so difficult to enter in for the course you want to study. So at the end of the day, like
Oh,
instead of studying pharmacy, if maybe the slot and maybe there's an allocated slot for pharmacy, maybe
mhm.
300 students. So by the time they have 300 students, and maybe there are 6,000 more students, but maybe just 300 students allocated. So there's usually like allocated slot for like each courses or each course you want to study, either pharmacy, medicine, or whatever. And after they after they have allocated like the number of people for a certain course, then the rest people, whether or not you want to study that particular course, will be given another course. So I couldn't enter into the university to study what I wanted to study, which was pharmacy. So at this time my parents were already talking
Got
to their
it.
other friends and discussing, oh, my daughter wants to enter into the university, but there's no pharmacy. So one of my family friends had a daughter in Ukraine and suggested Ukraine to us. So that's how I got into the Ukraine.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So
Mhm.
competition. It's high competition there in Nigeria. Interesting.
A lot. A lot. A
Wow. 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 Wow.
lot.
So how I'm curious to know, like, how do they feel about the states over in Nigeria when it comes to pharmacy? Like, is this a place where they would want to study? people from Nigeria will want to study, or not so much? It's more like either Nigeria or some other international schooling for
Do
pharmacy.
you mean students in Nigeria, in Ukraine?
No, more like students. So I'm asking like students who are in Nigeria, right? You said
Okay.
there's a lot of competition for the pharmacy
Yes,
schools.
yes,
So
yeah.
do those students who like maybe don't get accepted in Nigeria for pharmacy, do they
Yes.
consider US? Do they like to go to US for schooling, or do they more so
Oh,
choose other international places? Yeah.
oh, of course. Like most times, many people would like to travel, but most times due to insufficient funds, they might not
Mm,
be able to afford the euros because international fees is a whole
right.
lot, a whole lot. So if they couldn't afford to go to the US, it's either they wait another year or they choose another professional course, or they go to another country that is a lot more cheaper to study. So that's what happens.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
there are more options there for even international students.
Yes,
When
yes.
it's not as cost efficient for them to go to school in the U.S. Okay,
Yes,
they
yes,
choose other
yes,
avenues, or they wait a little bit, or they choose another profession. So okay, that's interesting.
yes, yes, yes,
Now, in coming to and going to school in Ukraine,
yes.
how was it learning the language? First of all, what was the language? What's the language called? And how was it learning it?
Ukrainian. It's called Ukrainian language.
Ukrainian language. First of all, your accent
Okay,
is
okay.
amazing.
No, in Ukrainian, it's called Ukrainsky. Ukrainsky. That's what.
Ukrainsky.
Yes, Ukrainsky.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So can you say right now, like say something in Ukrainsky?
Okay, I'll just say simple like privet. That's like hello, hi.
Privet.
Or dobry den. That's like good day, good day. Yeah.
The breathing. Am I
The
saying it right?
breathing, yes.
The
Yes, yes, the
breathing.
breathing,
Sound
yeah.
like you're saying the breathing. Okay.
Okay. Oh, yes. You
Interesting.
say, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, how long did it take you to learn the language, though? Like while you were there, you only had 5 years there. You
Okay.
were pretty much immersed in the culture. So, how long did it take you to pick up on things enough to
Okay.
survive?
So the truth is, we learned in English language, so there was a need for you to learn the language, but just the basic. But if there were so many other people that like were interested in the language that they went ahead to study the language. But for me, I just learned the basic that could like take me around the market, and yeah, for like maybe I want to call a taxi, just basic, because we were taught in English language since we're international students.
And how
So
long
that's
did it
basically
take
it.
you to learn that, just the basics of the language?
Like a year or two
Oh,
to
okay.
learn that.
Not that
Yes.
bad. Did you have any like mess ups? Did you have any like times where you were like, this is too hard, or this person doesn't understand what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes, because there were some times I wanted to really learn how to speak Ukrainian language. So I would always go on, like sometimes in my free time, go on YouTube to like to watch like some Ukrainian for some Ukrainian classes, and then I'll
Mhm.
try to speak with a local, and sometimes they don't even get what I'm saying, and I'm like, no, this is what I'm trying to talk about, but they don't understand what I'm saying. So there are some times that maybe I mixed up some words or like along the line, or sometimes sometimes they even try to help you when they see like you're trying your best to like speak in the
Right.
language. Yes.
Right, right. That's really awesome. So were the people there, were they really nice, or how was the culture there of people? Were they kind of rude?
Oh,
How was it really?
okay. Most of them were nice. What I noticed is when they are nice, they are usually super nice that you almost think they want something or something like that. But like they're just
Wow.
nice. But there's this notion to Russians and Ukrainians. They're always known as aggressive and cold-hearted.
Yes,
So
yes.
yes, and yes, it's true. Like
I've heard that.
they necessarily, like for me, when I get into a bus or something and someone looks at me, like maybe like we just look at it, I tend to like maybe smile like, oh hi, but it's not like that in Ukraine. Like it's weird you smiling at them if you're a stranger. Like, why are you smiling at me?
Whoa,
Yes.
that's insane. I probably would be considered totally weird to
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Wow.
So the ones that usually maybe would smile or something, they're usually, most times I notice and observe that they're usually people that have traveled outside the country. So maybe they have been like somewhere outside of Ukraine. So they are more like, maybe they are more used to other people's culture, and they are able to come back and blend with like other international students. But most of them that grew up in Ukraine all their lives, they are usually very safe and all that. So it's like, yes, but not so crazy, but it's just that.
So basically, like, don't smile over here. Don't do
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. Except, yeah, they're like, I'm not your friend, so why are you smiling at
Oh
me?
wow. That is insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Culture.
Yeah.
So okay, so you went to school there in Ukraine. You did
Yeah.
your 5 years. You went through the
Yeah.
grunt work. You learned the organic chemistry and you got your
Yeah.
degree. So like,
Yeah.
how did it feel to finally make it through all of that and to come home back to Nigeria, graduated, and now you're ready to work? Like, how was that?
Okay. I mean, like when I got on my graduation day, and when they were calling everyone out to get their certificate, and once my certificate, pharmacy certificate was handed over to me, I was like, so this is all the 5 years, like this is it, just this paper. So this is all the 5 years. So when I got my certificate, I was just like, so all these 5 years, just this is just the proof, all these 5 years. And I was excited. I mean, I was like, finally, I am done with this course. Because at some point, I began questioning myself. I was like, is school for me? I don't think school is for me. I don't think I want to be going to. I was just like done with schooling, especially in the final year. You get
Right.
so overwhelmed with projects, this, that, defense, all those things, and it can get so overwhelming. So at that point, it was just like, even if I could crawl to the finish line, I don't mind crawling to the finish line. So
Yes.
yeah, it was exciting, like finally like graduating, I get my certificate, and yeah, so yeah.
All right, so it felt really, really good. All right, so you went, you're feeling good. You got this piece of paper for the whole 5 years, right? All right, so you're now back in your country. You start working. Do you immediately start in hospital pharmacy?
Okay, so here is one thing. After graduating, I actually stayed back in Ukraine for another year. So before,
Oh.
yes, that's the one I never talked about, because when I graduated, I said I wasn't, after graduating, I still wasn't I didn't feel like I was ready for the pharmacy world yet. So I stayed back to, at the time I started, I started finding my other passions during my final year in Ukraine, and then I had to stay back to kind of like relax and take time off like this career for a bit. I took some time off this career just to focus on other like interests of mine. So, and yeah, before I now finally I decided to like come to Nigeria um for for internship. So that's what basically what happened.
Got it.
So
Okay, so you took a
yeah.
little break, did internship, then you went into work in Nigeria. Is that correct?
No. Like currently undergoing my internship in Nigeria.
Ah, got it.
Yes.
So the internship is in Nigeria.
Yes,
Makes
yes,
sense.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
makes
yes,
perfect sense.
yes.
Cool. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's in the hospital.
Yes, yes, yes.
Love
Hospital.
it, love it. How
Mhm.
has that been going? How's your, do you like hospital pharmacy? What's your experience there?
Wow. It's oh, okay. I would just say it's been amazing. I mean, for me, getting to okay, the call duties. I'm not a big fan of call duties. I prefer my morning duties. So that's one thing I couldn't like get over. Just coming for call duties, and it just
And
has a
it,
way
and
of.
explain to our audience what that is specifically. What does that consist of?
Okay, on call duties like that is when you get to work in the middle of the night till the morning time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that
that was
graveyard. In the States, we call it graveyard.
graveyard.
Graveyard
I mean,
shift, yeah.
yeah. Yes, yes. So that was one thing I had to get used to, because I find that it kind of has a way of messing up with your like sleep,
For sure.
because you yes, yes, so your sleep pattern is almost like you don't like. Now today I last night I was on call duty in the hospital, so but and the good thing is I get to get the that day off whenever I'm on call duty, so that's a good thing. So yes, so
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah.
Listen, I totally get what you mean. I used to work night shift, so
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I would do 5 days on, 9 days off. I thought the 5 day, 9 day thing was pretty cool, but listen, night shift is no joke. Working overnight,
Yes,
it will mess with your whole like body chemistry. Period.
yes,
Your
yes,
brain, just everything. You just notice a total
everything.
difference. And to come off of that and adjust is like a whole nother process as well. So
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
kudos to you on that. That is not for the faint at heart. I can from experience say that.
Yes,
so
yes.
okay, Deborah. So I I want to ask you this, just based on your experience up to this point. Do you recommend would you recommend somebody to go into pharmacy? Like if you could do it all over again, would you do anything differently? Would you recommend someone to take that type of path that you took? What would you do differently?
I I hate to say this, but
Mhm.
if I was given another chance, um, I'm not sure I would have studied pharmacy. But
Interesting.
yes, I'm not sure I would have studied pharmacy. And currently there are certain things that I don't know if it affects you over there, pharmacists over there in the US, but there's
Mhm.
currently just some things that are currently happening in Nigeria and relating to pharmacy as a profession that makes me wonder if I would advise someone to go study pharmacy.
Give me some insight to that. So what are some of the things? Give me like one.
So I don't know, but there's usually this thing, especially in the medical field, between
Mhm.
pharmacists and doctors. Doctors thinking or feeling that pharmacists are not needed because especially in the hospital setting, because most times uh they like, and for instance in my hospital, um most times, like during the night shift, the medications are already in the emergency unit. So sometimes they always, I don't know if it's okay to talk about this. Like I feel like okay,
Yeah, go for it.
but
Our audience, they want to know.
yeah, there are just some a bit of would I say shady things that goes on that just makes it a bit not not something I want to recommend to someone else to
Mm,
do. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
got it. I got it.
And
So
and
go ahead.
currently, yes, currently, I don't know if it's the same in US. Is it only from the you guys do?
Yeah,
From the
that's the major one. Yeah, PharmD, a doctor of
oh
pharmacy. That's correct.
okay, okay. So what is basically happening in Nigeria is most people studied B Farm, and right now there was a will I say, how do I put it? There was a conclusion, or would I say a bill that was passed, and it's like everyone has to go convert to FAMD, because most university just offer BFAM, and now so they're trying to upgrade to FAMD. So right now, if someone with a BFAM graduates and someone with a FAMD, that's a 1 year difference. So if FAMD is 5 years, FAMD is like 6 years here in Nigeria, is 6 years, while a BFAM is like 5 years. So when the both of them, like just for instance, let's say the both of them graduate on the same day, the FAMD person is like, in the government setting, is 3 years ahead of the pharmacist with the BFAM.
Right.
So it kind of like
it's like an advantage.
Yes. So right now, people with the BFAM would have to go for a conversion course and those kind of things. And again, the other, I don't know if I should talk about the other things, but then let's see, maybe with time, let's see.
All right, maybe we can talk about that off air. And if I feel the need to share with the audience, then you guys, we're going to share it. I'm going to give you guys the insight. So just make sure that if you're part of the audience here already, just get on the email list, and you can get those other insights as well. So let's move forward into talking about what you're doing now. Okay, so you're working in pharmacy. How about, are there any other endeavors that you're engaged in, or that you're working towards right now? What are those things?
There's so many. Like, so I refer to myself as the lifestyle pharmacist, because I do so many other things.
Okay, yeah.
So I have a YouTube channel, and it's encompasses lifestyle. I talk about pharmacy, and I talk about life in Nigeria. I do like more vlogs, videos, sit down videos, and all that. And I also have an online business, thrift business that I run with my sister. So that's it. And I do, so I'll call myself a growing influencer, like Instagram influencer as well. So I'm doing a lot. It's so much.
You are doing a lot. You are, but I like the fact that you have a side business. I always encourage medical professionals to start a side business, even if you don't do it full time. Just have you a side business. It's always good. I'm a firm believer. I think that just every medical professional should have one. All right. And something like there's something that you can provide of service to the world, And so I think that's really, really cool that you do that with your sister. And what is the business in particular?
It's a thrift. The online business is a thrift clothing, online clothing store, but like most of the clothings are thrifted. So but they are modish, and they are trendy and affordable, putting quality in mind as well.
Awesome. So we do that. Oh, I need to check out your store. I definitely gotta check out your store. Where is it? What's it called?
It's called the Lotus May on Instagram.
We
operate the Lotus May.
Yeah. Can you spell that for the audience?
You said what?
Can you spell that for the audience?
Okay, the Lotus May is spelled TheLotusMei. Yes.
Okay, May. Okay, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
May. The Lotus May. Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna head over there and check out some of the fashion that you got going on. And
all right, sure.
I'm sure our audience will too here. So this has been a super thorough interview, Deborah. I really honed in on a lot of things from you. One big thing that I learned from this talk with you is, don't be afraid to explore, and don't be afraid to attack new things, right? So you went to a new place, you went to Ukraine, you entered into a career field that you had to study for 5 years, and you went to Ukraine and had to learn another language So that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool
yes,
to say the
yes.
least. And you have an online business while you're working in the medical field. So kudos to you. You are
Yes.
really, really doing it.
And I have a
Now,
YouTube channel. Yes.
now let
Yes.
me ask you this. How many languages do you know exactly?
Oh, so when it comes to languages, I'm not just the best person. Like, I,
Yeah.
I there's something they call like people. Some people have the ear for hearing. They have the ear for learning languages. I think
Yeah.
I don't have the ear for learning languages.
Interesting.
so
Okay.
so like I could like, but I understand a few languages. Like I understand like, let me say, three languages, but I can't really converse well in those languages. So I would say like I'm a basic and intermediate, a bit of intermediate in some of these languages.
Do you
So
speak
that's it.
French?
No.
You don't. What languages do you speak? Or what languages
So
do you know for the most part?
do you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say like in Nigeria there are three main languages. So we have
Wow.
Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. So I understand Yoruba and Igbo, so those languages, and then just a bit of Ukrainian, and yes,
And
so and
English.
English, yes, and English.
Listen, that's amazing. Okay,
Yes.
your average American in US, like, we're not taught a whole bunch of languages like that. So that's pretty cool. But
Right,
most
thank
people
you.
are taught English. So
Yes.
that is really, really cool though, to say
Yes.
the
Yes.
least. That's really cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Deborah, you're welcome. So Deborah, let our audience know where they can find you. You can go ahead and plug here. Let our audience know where can they find you online. If
Okay.
they have more
Yeah.
questions about all this international stuff.
Yes. Okay, so you can find me on YouTube, and on YouTube, Moments with Idioma on YouTube. Maybe I would send it to you so that you could just put them
Yeah, yeah, we'll plug you
somewhere in the
in.
description. Yes,
We'll plug you in for
Moments
sure.
with Idioma on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, Idioma on Instagram. I'm just Idioma on Instagram. And yes, you can shoot me a mail, idioma@gmail.com. Yes, so you can find me on all these platforms.
Love
Yes.
that. Love that. So if you can give our audience one last word of advice, they're thinking about going into the pharmacy career or they're thinking about starting their own online business, what would you say to them?
Okay, the thing is, one thing I always say and I always tell people is not to hold yourself back to anything, and not to feel like because you are in a medical field, because there's always this notion about people being in the medical field being maybe like stuck up, or like they're so maybe serious, like they feel like maybe people in the pharmacy or like medical
Yeah.
doctors are serious, so they don't have a life outside of medicine. But come on, who says you can't have a life outside of your career? So you can also have other passions with your career. The only thing you have to find out is to find out how to infuse your passion with your career, and find out create the time for your other passions. And it's not bad to have so many other passions. It doesn't make you less of a pharmacist or a doctor or any other profession or career. So just go out and be you and do you, and never let anybody tell you that you can't do what you've proposed in your heart to do. So I think that is basically what I would say. Yeah, and thank you very much for your time and for this opportunity. I mean, the another reason I would say you should always do you is I would never would have thought that somebody would I would receive an email and someone asking me to come on a podcast show. Guys, come and see, I'm on a podcast show. Like, if I had not stepped out and just started my YouTube journey or something like that, and just maybe stick just to pharmacy and not do what I've always wanted to do, maybe I would never have been here. But look at this, because I put myself out there and I said, okay, I'm just going to not mind what other people are saying and just do what I want to do. And that got me here. Come on. So you never know what you're putting out there, how it's going to be helpful to one person. And even if it's just one person you're reaching out to, just do you and just do what you always wanted to do, what is in your heart. So that's what I
Love that.
have for you. Yes.
I love that. I love that. I love
Yes.
that. Deborah, listen, thank you so much. This has been so insightful. I almost
Thank
feel like
you.
I've been to Ukraine just from sitting here talking with you, even though I haven't. So thank you so much for your insight that you've offered to the audience today. And there you have it, guys. You heard it from Deborah yourself. Don't get so caught up in your career that you
Yeah.
don't do things that you genuinely like to do. Okay, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
can be a serious medical professional and still do
Yes.
things that you enjoy doing. So there you heard it there from
Exactly.
Deborah, guys.
Thank
This is we're gonna
you.
end out. You're so welcome, Deborah. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
We're gonna go ahead and end out the show here today, guys. If you would
Okay.
like more information, do you know where to find Deborah? If you have questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the comments
Yes.
below, and we'd love to engage with you guys and go from
Yeah.
there. This has been Onisha Biggs and the Code of Pharmacy podcast. You
Yeah.
guys have a great day where we
Hey,
talk everything
bye.
pharmacy.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.